Okay, welcome everybody to the 14th annual Burlington High School Poetry Out Loud final competition. I know you just applauded our amazing finalists, but I'm going to ask you to do it one more time. Let's give them a huge round of applause. Thank you. So today, the finalists, we have 8 finalists here, one for each of the 7 periods plus our wild card winner. You were all in the semifinals in the auditorium. You got a sense of what it was like to be up here. They since then had to choose and memorize a second poem, so they've done a lot of work to get on this stage. So I'm just going to remind you to be respectful, give them your attention, and note that it really does require silence when someone is on the stage. Does that work for everyone? Yes, okay. So Poetry Out Loud, as all the students know, is a national poetry recitation competition. We in Burlington High School like to have every single one of our students participate in this contest. So everyone chooses a poem, memorizes it, annotates it, writes about it, and recites it for an audience of their peers. From there, we choose semifinals for each period. They come and compete, and we have our finalists today. One of the things that we love about Poetry Out Loud is that it really hits all of the learning standards for the English language arts. We are focused on reading and writing, on speaking and listening, on writing, on language. So basically, we feel that it really does a good job of getting students the opportunity to master some of the essential skills. And today, we definitely have some students here who have mastered those skills. So we are going to have 2 rounds. Each of the 8 finalists will recite 2 different poems, and we are going to get started as soon as we introduce our amazing judges. Down here, we have Ms. Monk, who is from the Burlington Public Library. Mr. Musselman from the Science Center. Thank you, Mr. Musselman. And we have this year's Burlington High School Poet in Residence, Reggie Gibson. So let's give him a huge round of applause. Ms. Belarzik is helping out on accuracy. Let's give it up for Ms. Belarzik. Thank you. Okay, and so our finalists know, in the pit, Ms. Nedishin is down here. She is your prompter. If you need a line, she is there for you. Just say a line, and she will help you out. And everyone in the audience is going to be silent and amazing, right? All right. I think that we should have, I know that I'm all about the applause, but we're going to have one more huge round of applause, and then we're going to get going. Okay, everybody. We are going to welcome to the stage our very first finalist, Senior Caitlin Conley.
The Coming Woman by Mary Weston Fordham. Just look, 'tis 6:15, love, and not even the fires are caught. Well, you know I must be at the office, but as usual, the breakfast will be late. Now hurry and wake up the children, and dress them as fast as you can. Poor dearies, I know they'll be tardy. Dear me, what a slow, poky man. Have the tenderloin broiled nice and juicy, have the toast browned and buttered all right, and be sure you settle the coffee. Be sure that the silver is bright. When ready, just run up and call me. At 8 to the office I go, lest poverty grim should o'ertake us. 'Tis bread and butter, you know. The bottom from stocks may fall out, my bonds may get below par. Then surely I seldom could spare you a nickel to buy a cigar. All ready? Now, while I'm eating, just bring up my wheel to the door. Then wash up the dishes, and, mind now, have dinner promptly at 4. For tonight is our women's convention, and I am first to speak, you know. The men veto us in private, but in public they shout, "That's so," So, bye-bye. In case of rap, love, before opening the door, you must look. Oh, how could a civilized woman exist without a man cook? Thank you.
Nicely done, Caitlin. Thank you very much. I think that was her second poem, right, Caitlin? Yes. Okay, next up to the stage is Flower Joy Burley. Let's give her a round of applause.
Worth by Marilyn Nelson. Today in America, people are bought and sold. 500 for a likely Negro wench. If someone at auction was worth her weight in gold, how much would she be worth by pound, by ounce? If I owned an unimaginable quantity of wealth, could I buy an iota of myself? How would I know which part belonged to me? If I owned a part, could I set my part free? It must be worth something, maybe a lot. That my great-grandfather, they say, killed a lion. They say he was black with muscles as hard as iron, that he wore a necklace of the claws of the lion he fought. How much do I hear for his majesty in my blood? I auction myself, and I'll make the highest bid.
Just give the judges a second. Okay, next up to the stage, let's welcome Jack Campbell.
No, I Wasn't Meant to Be Loved by Mirza Asadullah Khan Ghalib. No, I wasn't meant to love and be loved. If I'd lived longer, I would have waited longer. Knowing you faithless keeps me alive and hungry. Knowing you faithful kills me with joy. Delicate are you, and your vows are delicate too. So easily do they break. You are a laconic marksman. You leave me not dead, but perpetually dying. I want my friends to heal me, succor me. Instead, I get analysis. Conflagrations that would make stones drip blood are nothing compared to my anguish. Two-headed, inescapable anguish. Love's anguish, or the anguish of time. Another dark, severing, incommunicable night. Death would be fine if I only died once. I would have liked a solitary death, not this lavish funeral, this grave anyone can visit. You are mystical, Ghalib, and you speak beautifully too. Are you a saint or just drunk as usual? Thank you.
Okay, just another moment for the judges. Okay, our next finalist, which we are going to give a warm welcome applause to, is Bella Gill.
The Fair Singer by Andrew Marvell. To make a final conquest of all me, love did compose so sweet an enemy, in whom both beauties to my death agree, joining themselves in fatal harmony. that while she with her eyes my heart does bind, she with her voice might captivate my mind. I could have fled from one, but singly fair, my distangled soul itself might save, breaking the curled trammels of her hair. But how should I avoid to be her slave, whose subtle art invisibly can wreathe my fetters of the very air I breathe? It had been easy fighting in some plain, where victory might hang in equal choice, but all resistance against her is vain, who has the advantage both of eyes and voice, and all my forces' needs must be undone, she having gained both the wind and the sun. Thank you.
Okay, as the judges wrap that up, I just want to let you know we're already halfway through our first round. This is pretty amazing with all this poetry. It's pretty nice. Okay, looks like we're just about ready. Our next finalist, if you could welcome him to the stage, is Luis Vialta.
The Heart Shows No Signs by Rue Freeman. The heart, the surgeon says, does not reveal the small rifts, the hairline cracks which split the hairline cracks. They conceal cops and robbers in a stretch of skin flaunting. Scars with show of blood bone, the ledges of what it holds tight in checkmate moves. Bend this and break. Fight first and bleed to earn. Needle. Finger, wrap, caress, balm the salvation of sight. Behold, what beauty lasts, what outlasts itself. All is dark. The curtain calls the ovation, sees the beginning. All is dark. Listen. A Como sung solo, it is too late to repair anything.
Okay, our next finalist is Sofia Meymaris.
The End of Science Fiction by Liesl Mueller. This is not fantasy. This is our life. We are the characters who invaded the moon, who cannot stop their computers. We are the gods who can unmake the world in 7 days. Both hands are stopped at noon. We're beginning to live forever in lightweight aluminum bodies with numbers stamped on our backs. We dial our words like Muzak. We hear each other through water. The genre is dead. Invent something new. Invent a man and a woman naked in a garden. Invent a child that will save the world. A man who carries his father out of a burning city. Invent a spool of thread that leads a hero to safety. Invent an island on which he abandons the woman who saved his life with no loss of sleep over his betrayal. Invent us as we were before our bodies glittered and we stopped bleeding. Invent a shepherd who kills a giant, a girl who grows into a tree, a woman who refuses to turn her back on the past and is changed to salt, a boy who steals his brother's birthright and becomes the head of a nation. Invent real tears, hard love, slow-spoken ancient words, difficult as a child's first steps across the room.
Let's welcome to the stage the next finalist, Sean Gallagher.
Life in a Love by Robert Browning. Escape me? Never, beloved, while I am I and you are you, so long as the world contain us both, me the loving and you the loath. While the one eludes, must the other pursue. It seems, the one eludes, must the other pursue. It seems too much like a fate indeed, though I try my best, I shall scarce succeed. But what if I fail of my purpose here? It is but to keep the nerves at a strain, to dry one's eyes and laugh at a fall, and baffled, get up and begin again, so the chase takes up one's life, that's all. While look but once from your furthest bound at me so deep in the dust and dark, no sooner the old hope goes to the ground than a new one, straight to the selfsame mark, I shape me, ever removed. Thank you.
Okay, this is the last finalist for our first round. Welcome to the stage, Michaela Gennari.
Hi, I'm Michaela, and I will be reciting More Lies by Karen Gottschall. Sometimes I say I'm going to meet my sister at the cafe, even though I have no sister, just because it's such a beautiful thing to say. I've always thought so, ever since I read a novel in which two sisters were constantly meeting in cafes. Today, for example, I walked alone on the wet sidewalk, wearing my rain boots, expecting someone might ask where I was headed. I bought a steno pad and a watch battery. The store windows fogged up. Rain in April is a sort of promise, and it costs nothing. I carried a bag of books to the cafe and ordered tea. I like a place that's lit by lamps. I like a place where you can hear people talk about small things, like the difference between azure and cerulean, and the price of tulips. It's going down. I watched someone who could be my sister walk in, shaking the rain from her hair. I thought even now, florists are filling their coolers with tulips, $5 a bundle. All over the city, there are sisters. Any one of them could be mine. Thank you.
Okay, that is the end of round one. Can we give them a huge, another round of applause over here? They probably need a minute to just take a breath, so we are going to pause for just a moment. My recommendation is that you turn to your neighbor and recite the first line of the poem you memorized for your Poetry Out Loud class. Everybody should clearly do that right now. Okay, how'd that go? Do you remember your poems? You do? Nice. Okay. We're gonna return, refocus. Thank you for bringing that poetry energy to the crowd, though. So our second round, each finalist is gonna recite one more poem, and then we will crown the 2019 Poet Laureate for Burlington High School. For our first finalist in this round, let's welcome to the stage Jack Campbell.
I'm back. And this is Mingus at the Showplace by William Matthews. I was miserable, of course, for I was 17. And so I swung into action and wrote a poem. And it was miserable, for that was how I thought poetry worked. You digested experience and shat literature. It was 1960 at the Showplace, long since defunct, on West 4th Street. And I sat at the bar, casting beer money from a thin reel of ones, the kid in the city, big ears like a puppy. And I knew Mingus was a genius. I knew 2 other things, but they were wrong as it happened. So I made him look at the poem. There's a lot of that going around, he said, and sweet baby Jesus, he was right. He laughed amiably. He didn't look as if he thought bad poems were dangerous, the way some poets do. If they were baseball executives, they'd plot to destroy sandlots everywhere so that the game could be saved from children. Of course, later that night, he fired his pianist in mid-number and flurried him from the stand. We've suffered a diminuendo in personnel, he explained, and the band played on. Thank you.
Okay, shh, 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 shh. All right, we are going to welcome to the stage for her second round, Bella Gill.
To Have Without Holding by Marge Piercy. Learning to love differently is hard. Love with the hands wide open, love with the doors banging on their hinges, the cupboard unlocked, the wind roaring and whimpering in the rooms, rustling the sheets and snapping the blinds that thwack like rubber bands in an open palm. It hurts to love wide open, stretching the muscles that feel as if they are made of wet plaster, then of blunt knives, then of sharp knives. It hurts to thwart the reflexes of grab, of clutch, to love and let go again and again. It pesters to remember the lover who is not in the bed, to hold back what is owed to the work that gutters like a candle in a cave without air, to love consciously, conscientiously, concretely, constructively. I can't do it. You say it's killing me, but you thrive. You glow on the street like a neon raspberry. You float and sail, a helium balloon, bright bachelors, button blue and bobbing on the cold and hot winds of our breath, as we make and unmake in passionate diastole and systole, the rhythm of our unbound bonding. To have and not to hold. To love with minimalized malice. Hunger and anger, moment by moment, balanced. Thank you.
Okay, we ready for our next finalist? Please welcome to the stage Sean Gallagher.
Song by Brenda Cardenas. You shout my name from beyond my dreams, beyond the picture window of this Rosarito beach house. Rushing from bed to shore, I glimpse their backs, volcanoes rising out of the sea. Your back, a blue-black silhouette, feet wet with the wash of morning waves. Fountains spring from mammal minds, my hands lifting a splash of sand. On my knees, toes finding a cool prayer beneath them, fingers pressing sea foam to my temples, while you open arms, wide as a generation, raise them to a compass point dive. If you could reach them, you would ride their fins under the horizon, then surf the crash of waves left in their wake. And if I could grasp my own fear, I'd drown it, leave it breathless and blue as this ocean, as the brilliant backs of whales surfacing for air. Thank you.
Okay, let's get ready for our next finalist. Let's welcome to the stage Sophia Maymaras.
The Arrow and the Song by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. I shot an arrow into the air. It fell to earth I knew not where, for so swiftly it flew, the sight could not follow it in its flight. I breathed a song into the air. It fell to earth I knew not where, for who has sight so keen and strong that it could follow the flight of song? Long, long afterward, in an oak, I found the arrow still unbroke, and the song, from beginning to end, I found again in the heart of a friend.
Okay, let's welcome our next finalist to the stage, Luis Vialta.
She Walks in Beauty by Lord Byron, George Gordon. She walks in beauty like the night of cloudless climes and starry skies, and all the best of dark and bright. Thus, mellow to the tender light, which heaven to gaudy day denies. One shade the more, one ray the less. Word. Had half impaired the nameless grace which waves in every raven tress, and o'er lightens o'er her face. And on her cheek and o'er her brow so soft, so calm, line. Yet eloquent. And to that smile that wins, that tints and glows, word. But tell of days of goodness spent, a mind at peace, a heart whose love is innocent.
Okay, let's get ready for our next finalist. Shh, 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 shh. You guys ready? Okay, can we welcome to the stage Michaela Gennari?
Hi, I will be reciting Ah Why Because the Dazzling Sun by Emily Bronte. Why? Because the dazzling sun restored my earth to joy, have you departed, everyone, and left a desert sky? All through the night, your glorious eyes were gazing down in mine. And with a full heart's thankful sighs, I blessed that watch divine. I was at peace and drank your beams as they were life to me, and reveled in my changeful dreams like petrel on the sea. Thought followed thought. Star followed star through boundless regions on, while one sweet influence, near and far, thrilled through and proved us one. Why did the morning rise to break so great, so pure a spell, and scorch with fire the tranquil cheek where your cool radiance fell? Blood red he rose, and arrow straight his fierce beam struck my brow. The soul of nature sprang elate, but mine sank sad and low. My lids closed down, yet through their veil I saw him blazing still, and bathe in gold the misty dale, and flash upon the hill. I turned me to the pillow then, to call back night and see your worlds of solemn light again throb with my heart and me. It would not do. The pillow glowed, and glowed both roof and floor, and birds sang loudly in the wood, and fresh winds shook the door, the curtains waved. The wakened flies were murmuring round my room, imprisoned there, till I should rise and give them leave to roam. O stars and dreams and gentle night, O night and stars, return and hide me from this hostile light that does not warm but burn, that drains the blood of suffering men, drinks tears instead of dew. Let me sleep through his blinding rain and only wake with you. Thank you.
Okay, let's welcome to the stage our next finalist, Flower Joy Burley.
Ode on Solitude by Alexander Pope. Happy the man whose wish and care a few paternal acres bound, content to breathe his native air in his own ground, whose herds with milk, whose fields with bread, whose flocks supply him with attire, whose trees in summer yield him shade and winter fire. Blessed, who can unconcernedly find hours, days, and years slide soft away, in health of body, peace of mind, quiet by day, sound sleep by night, study and ease. Together mix sweet recreation and innocence, which most does please, with meditation. Thus let me live, unseen, unknown, thus unlamented, let me die. Steal from the world without a stone, tell where I lie. Thank you.
Okay, let's welcome to the stage Caitlin Connolly.
Often rebuked, yet always back returning, by Emily Bronte. Often rebuked, yet always back returning to those first feelings that were born with me, and leaving busy chase of wealth and learning for idle dreams of things which cannot be. Today, I will seek not the shadowy region. Its unsustaining vastness waxes drear, and visions rising, legion after legion, brings the unreal world too strangely near. I'll walk, but not in old heroic traces, and not in paths of high morality, and not among the half-distinguished faces, the clouded forms of long past history. I'll walk where my own nature will be leading. It vexes me to choose another guide, where the gray flocks in ferny glens are feeding, where the wild wind blows on the mountainside. What have those lonely mountains worth revealing? More glory and more grief than I can tell. For earth that wakes one human heart to feeling can center both the worlds of heaven and hell. Thank you.
Okay, let's acknowledge the amazing work of all of our finalists one more time. I think you all know how much courage it takes to get up on the stage and how much work goes into preparing for Poetry Out Loud, and I am just beyond impressed with everything they've done. All right, so we will be figuring out the scores, and we will announce our winner soon. But in the meantime, we are going to really enjoy an amazing performance by our poet in residence, Reggie Gibson, who has been working with our freshmen throughout the fall in generative poetry workshops. So if you could welcome Reggie to the stage.
I want to thank all of the students who came up here to do their thing. This is not as easy as it might seem that it is to open up, speak some words that you've been walking around with for a while, and then have it be judged by people, both in quantification as far as numbers, but also we know we're silently judging people at all times. And that's a difficult thing. I want to thank all of them who had the courage to do that. Yeah, please, who had the courage to do that. In contemplating what I was going to say up here today, I always, thank you, determined whether or not I'm going to do something from memory, because this is about memorization. But every performer and person who is blessed to be able to get up in front of people and talk has to also think about what they're feeling in their own hearts, but also what might need to be heard by others. Because ultimately, when you open your mouth in front of people, you're a vehicle for communication. And so I found something that I find I'm resonating with, and I think you might as well. And I was a person who was mentored by other people, and one of them is a person whose work we didn't hear from today, which is William Shakespeare. But this is something that I've been contemplating for a while, and I sent it with my son when he went off to college. It is from the character Jacques, who's a very melancholy character in the play As You Like It. And he has a soliloquy where he talks about all the world being a stage. And I think especially for young people nowadays who have so much coming at them, this version that I've created out of it is particularly for you. All your life is a stage. And you sisters and brothers, you in-betweens and others have your exits and your entrances. You have your various performances, and in fits and starts you will play many parts. First, you come onto the scene, writhing and screaming, nearly blind and dumb, drooling through toothless gums, mewling and puking in the nurse's arms. And before you know it, you are hit with a torrent of facts and figures, and you begin to suss out how to break the rules of both school and home, and at some time, someone tells you on which side of what line it is that you belong. And so you begin dividing up the world into them and theys and that's and thises, and just when you think you got it all down pat, you discover the thunderous bliss of kisses. And that just fucks up everything. For how can so small and seemingly meaningless a thing bring you to a place displaced of gravity, where you float, eyes closed, in the bearingless and the caringless, in the blessed yes of it? And while you are still wheeling and reeling in the wake of the feeling, some well-meaning killjoy asks you, "So, kid, what are you gonna do with the rest of your life? So, kid, what will you do for work? Kid, how will you earn? Kid, will you learn a trade? Kid, will you matriculate into college? Kid, will you choose one or none or both of those options? Come on, the bus is leaving, kid. Quick, you better hop on it and do like we did." And so you make a choice. And we give you a part of this world to carry. Hurry up. Do it now. Don't slow down. Don't dawdle. Don't bobble. Don't wobble. Don't tarry. And after years of doing so, if you're lucky, sometimes in between those lifted loads, a knowing begins knowing you, and you begin to find that sometimes through slightly blurred eyes, you have achieved a sharper vision. The beginning of some species of wisdom, wisdom that reveals the truth that you sense now in your youth. But hopefully by then you will know without doubt that there were and are only a few things really worth giving 1/10 of 1 inch of a damn about. A sense of being flowered open by love. A hand reaching for yours when the hydra-headed darkness of this world makes you tremble and sway. A long-needed, much too short laugh with friends. Just a little more poetry, and the blessed thought of being able to wake up and do it all again for one more day. Just one more day. Thank you.
Okay, I want to just thank Reggie Gibson again. He's been here from October through December, and we are very grateful for the work and our partnership with Mass Poetry for helping make that happen, and also the generosity of the Burlington Cultural Council, which is part of the Massachusetts Cultural Council. So let's give them a round of applause. Thank you very much. Okay. You guys ready for the results? All right. Again, everyone did an amazing job. I'm going to ask all of our finalists to come up to the stage. Okay, we have Mr. Hill here who is going to help hand out our awards. So let's applaud Mr. Hill. Nicely done. Okay, so in no particular order, we're going to announce our honorable mentions. So when we do so, if you could give them, each one of them, another round of applause, and then they'll head over to Mr. Hill. Congratulations to Sophia Maymaris. Hey. All right. Please acknowledge the work of Bella Gill. All right. Please give our next finalist a round of applause, Caitlin Conley. If we could give another round of applause to Louis Vialta. Good job, Louis. Let's acknowledge the work of Sean Gallagher. Thank you, Sean. Nicely done. Okay, this year's third place Poetry Out Loud winner is Jack Campbell. I'm looking awkward. And in second place, Flower Joy Burley. And I'm actually going to call the presidents of the Latin Club up to the stage because we are about to crown our 2019-2020 Poet Laureate. We're going to introduce Rory Golden and Lynn Robbie.
Hi, we are going to give the finalists the crown, the laurel crown, which is a sacred symbol of Apollo, who is the god of arts. It is usually a distinction given to people who have made extremely talented accomplishments in arts, particularly poetry. In behalf of the Burlington High School, we are proud to present the laurel crown to Michaela.
Okay, let's please acknowledge everybody one last time, these amazing scholars. Thank you so much. And teachers, I think we might still have a little bit of time. Yes, Mr. Hill, do we? Okay, so teachers, I'm going to assume that you would like to return to your classroom for the remaining 12 minutes. Oh, I know. But before we go, if we could thank our judges and our poet one more time. Okay, thank you. You guys can head to period 5.